Hi, I'm Julia from DoYogaWithMe.com. This is a basic prenatal class to help you with any aches or pains you may be experiencing and to help you prepare for labor. Enjoy. Hello, welcome, and welcome babies. Basic class today. What you'll need is a bolster, some blankets if you like some warmth and extra props, and then two blocks as well. Whatever substitutions you have is great. We'll do a little bit of balancing today too, so if you have a wall nearby or a chair for some extra support, that's wonderful. So find a comfortable seated position. You might be on top of one of those folded blankets or another kind of block, maybe even the bolster. Doesn't matter, just noticing what you need, what feels best on your hips to support baby, to support yourself. And then just see if you can start to come into a more comfortable place. You might close your eyes. Maybe we'll roll our shoulders a few times, up, back, and down. And just start to take a few deeper breaths. Now, deep is relative these days, but deeper than maybe you've been breathing throughout the day today. Following that exhale all the way to the end, and then bringing in that nourishing oxygen, knowing that each breath that you take is also going into your belly, into your baby. So nourishing and oxygenating your baby as well. Just taking this time before we start our practice to let go of anything that you may be carrying to your mat with you today. So any kind of thoughts, any stresses, maybe it's about the future, maybe it's from the past. See if you can just bring it back to that breath, to the present moment, and let go of those other things that do not matter right now. Taking the time to connect to baby. Maybe placing your hands on your belly or one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Breathing here and maybe even saying a little hello. Hello, little one. This one who is sharing your body at this time and will be sharing your practice today with you, with us as well. Finding a softness around the face as much as you can, around the eyes, and in particular around the jaw. So feeling a softening here, knowing that the jaw structure, the more that we clench and tighten it, especially when we're in pain, the more our pelvic floor is going to tighten as well. And we know that when it comes to labor, it's important to start to think about that opening of that area. So trying to find some relaxation around the jaw, around the face if you can, maybe wiggling your jaw around a little bit, maybe some horse lips, one of my personal favorites. And then just knowing that connection to the pelvic floor, see if you can just relax there. Kind of a downward trampoline kind of idea, that bouncing downwards. You may feel the sit bones pressing into the block, the blanket, or the floor, and that space between your pubic bone. Thinking about just opening, just a release, just a relax, maybe petals opening here. And then bringing our awareness now more into the strengthening aspect of it, toning those muscles, go into a little bit of pelvic floor work. So on your exhale, I want you to think about drawing up on the center of that trampoline, drawing up like the center of a spider's web is pulling up and in. And then on your inhale, I want you to release again, relaxing there. Exhale, that drawing upwards. Maybe the bones start to gather in slightly, a little bit more, supporting you, supporting baby. And then the inhale, again, that release, that relax, so important. So we'll do a few more of these, just moving at your own pace. Use your exhale to feel that drawing up and in. Notice if you start to take that into your jaw or into your shoulders or into any other areas that definitely don't need it. We want to just focus on the pelvic floor and take a few more of those up and down movements with your breath. One more breath like that. And then we'll slowly release. You can shake out the legs if you need to, any kind of movements. We'll start to move around in the spine. So on your next inhale, we're going to raise one arm, doesn't matter which one, lift your chest. And then exhale, let's round your back. Think about tucking your tailbone under. Inhale, the other arm comes up, just stretching, opening, and exhale to round. Now you might be on your knees here, that's fine, you don't have to be cross-legged. You might be sitting on a chair. So just starting to bring this movement into your spine, lubricating everything here, but also a little bit of toning for the same pelvic floor and the abdominal muscles, as well as the back muscles. Working with that breath. The breath's so important for moving through life, for nourishing baby, as we mentioned before, and also for helping you through the birthing process, whatever that looks like for you in the end. So let's do that one more time, each side. Moving as fast or slow throughout this entire practice. You do not have to follow the movements that I am doing or the pace I'm doing. I want you to move as much as you can, tuning into what you need and with your breath. From here, we'll just move into a few circles, these Sufi grinds. I want you to think mostly about kind of your belly and your pelvis and your hips moving here. You might even think about your tailbone drawing circles on the floor. We'll just do a few in the other direction, nothing major. Again, just getting that blood flowing, finding some movement in the body. And then as you're ready, you can again shake out the legs. And we'll come back to a cross-legged position or kneeling. And just add a gentle twist, thinking about twists at this point in our lives coming more from the upper body, the thoracic spine, rather than the lower body and compressing much through the belly. So just very gentle. You might reach across or you might only come part way. Just going to inhale to lengthen up. Exhale, think about your shoulders gently turning back. Maybe your head turns as well, but maybe not. Big inhale here. Let's exhale to come back through center, and then we'll go to the other side. So as you're ready, how far you are in your pregnancy and just how you're feeling will determine how far you go in these twists. Inhale, filling your chest. Exhale, finding a gentle space to turn. And then slowly coming back to center. Beautiful. All right, so we will move to all fours from here. You can remove any props that you might be seated on. Coming to a cat and a cow, so more of that spinal flexion, just so healthy for your spine and supporting your body and your back. Dropping your belly down, starting to pull your chest forward, lifting your chin up, your head, you might even look up. And then exhale, round out your back as much as the belly will allow you to do so at this point. Inhaling, so moving at your own pace. Feeling your tail lift. And then feeling your head drop, really pushing through your hands to round up, opening the space between your shoulder blades. Inhale. A little bit of a fun ride for babe at this point. Now you can stay here with this simple flexion, or you can start to imagine that your chest is on the inside of a barrel and you're drawing these big circles with your rib cage, kind of circling the inside of the barrel. You might bend your elbows. You may be rocking quite a bit from side to side And then we'll reverse the direction. So just starting to open up again, lubricating those areas, those joints, that rib cage as much as you can. And some days you're going to feel like you're moving a lot, other days not so much. So there's definitely considerably more water in our bodies these days that can inhibit movement. Start to slow things down, coming into a balanced space. Now, if this isn't comfortable on your wrists, you can make fists or you can come down onto your forearms as well. Working so that this works for you. We'll take our right leg out behind us, starting to lift it up. And then just lengthen the top of your head away from that back leg. You think about hugging baby in towards your spine, up away, resisting gravity. And if it feels okay for you, it feels safe, you might reach the left hand out in front of you, or maybe even reach that arm out in front of you as well. Now noticing what your breath wants to do. Noticing if that's too much today or doesn't feel comfortable. Maybe lifting the back leg a little higher. One more breath. And then slowly lower your hand, lower your leg, and just take the time for any kind of movements that you need to work that out. And then we'll go to the other side. So when you're ready, left leg extends out. Back foot, the back toes can be tucked or they can be flat, whatever works for you. Engaging the glutes, so those backside muscles a little bit to help lift that leg. Those hamstrings are gently engaging. Again, you're really working to hug baby up and in, so the abdominals are supporting your back as well here. Opposite arm, if that feels comfortable. And of course, options here are you can keep those back toes on the ground, you could keep your front fingers on the ground, or you could just work with a leg or just work with the arms. So notice how you're feeling each day when you come to this practice. And choose the appropriate option for you on that day. Reach long, one more breath, and then exhale. Let's slowly bring that down, bring your knee down. We'll slide back into a wide-legged child's pose, so creating as much space as you need for a baby here, so that you can sink your hips back. Now, if you're fairly far along in your pregnancy, this is where you might be using one of the bolsters or some of the blocks, maybe propping yourself up here to allow your head to drop down. If you're earlier in the pregnancy, you might just have your arms on the floor as well. So, and just gauging where you're at and how it's changing day to day. So, new experience, just learning to check in with the body every time we come to our mat. Releasing through the back of the hips, the lower spine. And then slowly coming back up, removing any props if you have them. We're moving to downward facing dog from here. If that's not comfortable, you can always go all fours. But if it is comfortable, lift those knees off the mat. You can have your feet probably wider than you used to in your practice, just for the extra support here. Start to walk the dog, bend one knee and then the other. Make sure you've got the support through your hands here. Fingers are spread nice and wide. Dropping one heel down and then the other. You may do this a little bit faster. You might do it a little bit slower. A nice release here for the pelvis in particular. Just taking some of the weight of baby out of your pelvis. And of course, the option being to be on all fours here. Shifting and moving side to side. And then when you're ready, just start to let your heels drop down. We'll look towards the front of our mat, and we'll be stepping our right foot forward. Slowly, gently, taking your time to get there. Back knee can come down to the mat. Toes will be pointing forward, but depending on how your belly is, you may point those toes and knee out to the side as well. So just making room and accommodating for our changing bodies as we need. Allow your hips to sink forward and down. You might even walk your hands a little bit off to the side if that feels better, or you may use the blocks for some extra support to prop yourself up here. So lots of options, really utilizing those props. Notice how the hips feel. Thinking maybe here about the pelvic floor a little bit, that opening, that gentle release with your breath, gentle engagement. This is definitely a good area to stretch in this particular pose. If you'd like to come farther, you could walk yourself up, and we'll lift our left arm up overhead and just go into a gentle side bend. Opening up a little bit more through the whole side of the body. If that back knee is at all an issue for you, you can always put a blanket underneath your knee, maybe a block for a little bit of added support. Relaxing your shoulders, and again, relaxing the jaw, checking back in. Slowly, let's walk ourselves back down. We'll be coming back into our downward facing dog from here. So as you're ready, heel toe, sweep that leg around behind you. Move into your down dog. Again, as wide of a stance with the feet as feels comfortable. Too close together here is usually not that beneficial, so take it nice and wide. Now, from here, we'll come up onto the balls of our feet, and we'll drop both of our heels down to the right side. We're going to stay in our down dog. You may be on the edges of your feet. We're just going to stretch the side body. So just breathing into now your left side body a little bit more as it opens. Slowly come back through the center, lifting your heels, adjusting as you need, and then we'll go to the other side. Breathing into that right side body this time. Oh, the horse lips. So any kind of size you need at any time. Anything that works as a release. Let's slowly come back through the center. So look between our hands, and this time our left foot will step forward. Another neat trick for the back knee, if you don't have those extra props, is you can always fold over your mat as well here for some extra support. So just finding those options that work for you today, whether it's knees out to the side or pointing forward. Start to sink your hips forward. Again, knowing that we're not going for the gusto, we're not going all the way during pregnancy due to the relaxin that's running through our bodies. So playing it safe, there'll be plenty of time to stretch deeply afterwards. Relaxing the jaw. Now staying here if you like, or maybe walking a little bit farther up, adding that side bend when you're ready, as you're ready. Over to the side, maybe dropping your head as well. You can reach fairly actively here. You might feel the pull all the way up the side of your body. Or if it feels better to kind of let your arm hang and your fingers dangle, you can do that too. Another option for a bit of support here would be to have a block to the side. Notice your breath as best you can. All right, let's slowly come back down. Back into our downward facing dog. Last one, I promise. Feet moving back. Walk it out as you need. Shake it out as you need. Maybe swaying your hips a little bit side to side. And then look forward to the front of your mat. We're going to walk nice and wide legs towards the front of the mat. So taking it slow. We'll come to hang in a forward fold at the front of our mats here. Again, feet as wide as you need to accommodate for your belly. Now, if because of nausea or any kind of dizziness or anything that doesn't feel comfortable for you, you can come into just a bit of a low kind of supported squat. Opening here, still releasing a bit through the pelvis, letting belly hang. or otherwise really letting your head dangle down. You might place your hands on some blocks if that feels good for some support here, or you may let your arms dangle down. Really releasing through the neck and the shoulders. Beautiful. We're coming up to standing from here. So lots of support as you roll up, nice and slow. Definitely use your hands, walking them along your legs. Rolling out your shoulders as you come to the top. Taking a moment to adjust yourself as you need. And we'll just take a moment here, standing in Tadasana. Feet are hip distance apart or even wider here for lots of support. I want you to think about starting to shift your weight forward and back. Just notice how it feels to stand on the balls of your feet and to stand on your heels. During pregnancy, we quite often start to throw our hips forward, really compressing through the low back because of the weight that we're accommodating for. That's definitely not great on the low back. So think about softening your knees a little bit and try to shift your weight back into your heels a little bit. So ideally, we would have this line from our ankle right up through the edge of our hip, through our shoulders, through our ear, our plumb line along the side, rather than this kind of banana or bow shape. So noticing how that feels, a little more awkward maybe, a little more engaging on the backside or the quads to help support you there. And then see if you can grow a little taller from there. So the top of your head reaches towards the ceiling. You're finding that space, again, to breathe, those strong legs to support you. Beauty. So a little bit of balance from here. If you need to move near something for some support, please take the time to do that now. Moving into our tree pose, Parakanasana. So you can choose how far you want to go. If you're familiar with this pose, your balance feels good, you may go deeper, leg farther up the other leg. Or you're going to turn your right knee out to the side and just place your heel against your ankle here. Hands can be on the hips or on something for some support. Noticing again, did you shift your weight forward, those hips forward quite a bit? Can you keep that weight back towards your heel? Can you still stand tall? How is your breath? How's the pelvic floor? So pelvic floor in particular, really connected to our balance. And as it starts to shift quite a bit during pregnancy with this added weight that's kind of going everywhere right now, it's important to keep checking back in and check back in with strengthening and toning the pelvic floor so that you can be as supported as you can be throughout the pregnancy. So you can do that same, exhaling to draw up through the pelvic floor. Inhale, gentle release. Or you can just stay with a gentle engagement because we are balancing and that will help with your balance. If you'd like, you might add the arms, maybe hands together, a prayer position at your heart, or maybe even reaching those arms up overhead, spreading your fingers, kind of a celebratory place. Find your breath. Yourself as you'd like with your gaze. Most challenging would be looking up or closing your eyes, but really being conscious because we are pregnant right now. Just stick with what feels comfortable for now and within those safe ranges. Slowly we'll lower our hands down. A little more balance from here. So still staying in that standing leg. We're going to bring that right ankle now across the left leg. Really flexing at the foot to help support the knee. And then it's almost as if we are going to sit back into a chair. Now, if this doesn't work for you at all, you can sit in a chair here. Definitely. We're working a little more on opening the hips as well as this balance. Placing your right hand against your right thigh and your left hand on your left hip. You can almost start to imagine that you're pulling both away from each other. So you're gently pushing out to that right side and then pulling that left hip back slightly. Continuing that action of sitting back into a chair. Noticing your breath. Definitely a little more challenging. We've been on that standing leg for a little while now. So we'll take one more breath here. And then slowly start to stand yourself up. Woo, release the legs. Give it a good shake out. So good for your nervous system to give it a shake. So really get all those parts of your body going. Woo. And then we'll go to do the other side. So 2 sides. Taking a moment just to establish that strong standing leg. Weight still shifting back towards your heel. We're still nice and tall and long. And starting with that tree balancing pose. Of course, you can choose the more difficult options if it feels safe for you. Tapping into pelvic floor right away. How's my balance? How's my breath? Maybe am I focusing on one thing, a gaze point, a drishti, to help with my balance as well? Or is my gaze wandering all over the room? Knowing that we can find this focus when things start to get distracting, when things start to get a little tough. If you'd like to add the arms, a few different options. That lift, very gentle lift through the center of your heart, almost as if there's a string pulling up from your sternum. Maybe strings pulling up the sides of your mouth. And then slowly let's let that one go. Let the leaves fall. Give a little shake temporarily if you like before we move into that hip opener on this side. So again, flexing the foot to protect the knee. Start to sink your hips back and down. And then with your left hand on your left thigh and your right hand on your right hip, just gently starting to pull open a little bit here. Until you find that place where you notice the stretch, you notice the opening through the hips. How does pelvic floor feel here? How's baby doing? Focused? Moving around, challenging your balance a little bit maybe? Or maybe they're chill, maybe they're liking this. All options are pretty great. Okay, let's slowly let that go. Whew. And we'll go into one more little flow while we're here before we really hit down on the mat. So squatting. If you're fairly far along in your pregnancy and you know that baby is breech, you want baby to breech, I encourage you not to come all the way down here because this will encourage baby to start to drop down and engage. And if you are working on flipping baby, let's not go there. So your option would be to come halfway down. I'll demo both when we get there. If you feel okay to go all the way down, definitely I encourage you to do that. So we'll take an inhale, arms sweep up overhead. As you exhale, hands come down through heart center, and we come down to our half squat or our full squat. Now I'm demoing the half to begin. Inhale, lift your chest, pull it forward, lift your tail like our cat, and then exhale, round your back, drop your head. Now stay here for your inhale, expand into the back side of your body, and then exhale, let's slowly roll ourselves back up to standing from wherever you are. Inhaling, coming all the way up. I'll demo the full now. Exhale to come all the way or halfway. Inhale, lift your chest open. Exhale, round your back, look down towards the floor. Stay here for your inhale. And then exhale, start to roll yourself back up. Beauty. Inhale. Exhale into your squat. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, round out the back. Inhale to hold. And then exhale to roll yourself up. So for any reason, if you feel uncomfortable coming all the way down, definitely just go into the half version. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Hold for your inhale. And then exhale to come back up. So just using those strong legs. So important while we're pregnant and so important during the delivery process as well if we're really laboring. Hold for the inhale. And exhale to roll yourself back up. We'll do that one more time. Big inhale. Exhale. Inhale, just notice how it feels to move with your breath. Beautiful. All right. So from here, we all will come down to a squat. So choosing the option that works for you. As I said before, if you're breached, you're staying there. Or if there's any other reasons it's uncomfortable. If not, we're coming all the way down. If your heels are off the floor, you might use some blocks underneath your heels for some support. You may even stack the blocks and sit on top of them with your bum. It's a great way to watch TV and work on opening up the pelvic floor and the pelvis at the same time. Or you may use none. So it's going to change as your body changes. Just notice what works best for you now. Your body, your pregnancy. Again, opening up as best you can. You may even be holding onto a chair or something here for some support. Now really thinking about just opening the pelvic floor. So rather than the toning and engaging here, now we're thinking about this opening here. Opening through the jaw, opening through the throat. Releasing as much as you can. Sometimes just turning the head a little bit side to side can help. Beauty. All right, let's come down onto our bums from here. We'll move into Parakanasana, our butterfly pose. Can be nice to have that little bit of a support to sit onto so your pelvis can tip forward as you come down. So take a moment to make yourself comfortable. Sitting on the mat's perfectly fine too. We'll bring the soles of our feet together, knees come out to the side. If your knees are uncomfortable, some support with the blocks underneath them or even a couple bolsters, some big pillows can help as well here. Inhaling, sitting nice and tall, and then exhale, just gently start to lean yourself forward. Try to start with a flat back as best you can here, just to work to open up the pelvis and the hips a little bit more. Letting baby start to drop down into the space. And then as it feels comfortable, you might start to round and roll forward from here. Now this can be a great place. You could rest your hands on a chair. You might use some pillows or some blocks to kind of hold on to and support yourself with here. The goal being so that we can start to relax a little bit more in this stretch, in this space. So just notice again here how far you are along and what might feel comfortable for you. As always, if your mind starts to wander, try to come back to the present moment, to your time right now with babe, by focusing in on your breath. You can even just imagine counting up to 10 with each inhale, each exhale. And if your mind wanders, just come back to the count wherever you left off. So using the breath as an anchor for the mind, because it's always busy and it's always going to go, but just using that as a way to come back to the present moment. Now we'll stay for just 2 more breaths here. And then as you exhale that second breath, we'll just slowly walk back up. Take a moment with a cross-legged position. We'll take our hands behind us from here, fingertips pointing forward. And as if we're basking in the sun, we'll just lift our hearts, lift our chest. If it feels good, you can let your head drop all the way back. But if it doesn't, just stay looking forward or slightly up. Try to relax your face. Try to lift your chest. If it feels okay for you here, you might even start to lift your hips. So that is totally optional. Your knees would be on the floor. And then slowly just starting to come back out, walk yourself up. So from here, going into a single leg stretch. Let's start with our right leg. We'll take it out to the side. You may still be seated on the block or not. Now, just being cognizant of that relaxant again that's going through our bodies. Not wanting to overstretch at any point here because it is an easy thing to do and we could damage those ligaments and things like that. Thinking about only going to about 60% of where we would go with our previous practices. So you might place a blanket or something underneath your knee, especially if you feel any kind of tenderness around the knee. From here, we'll just slide our right arm on the inside of our right leg. Start to turn your chest away from that side. So really rolling that left shoulder back. Just breathing here now. You might start to drop the head towards those right toes. So we're opening a little more on the left side of the body. And if that feels okay, you might bring your left arm up, maybe just to the back of your head, or maybe you're reaching over. Again, option. You can reach strongly, firmly here, or you can let those fingers, that elbow, bend and those hands dangle. Try to soften through the shoulders again. Try to soften around through the jaw. Try to feel as much softness, as kind of peace coming across your face as you can. Feeling that gentle smile that maybe you're feeling across your face, as if it's transferring to baby as well. Maybe they have that soft, gentle smile here too. You can always move the bottom arm if it's not comfortable out to the side. Notice what feels best for you. And then we'll all slowly bring that top arm down. And just take a moment walking your hands forward and your belly forward here. A little more through the hamstrings, the back of the leg. Just for a moment, a couple of breaths here. And then slowly walk yourself back up. We'll go to do the other side. As you're ready, taking the left leg out and the right leg in. Toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Any kind of props, blankets for support, please feel free to use those. And when you're ready, reach that left arm on the inside of the leg, turning the chest now, rolling the right shoulder open. You might look up towards the ceiling, but if it feels better on your neck, you're looking straight ahead or down at the floor. Softening again around the jaw, the palate, the tongue. Softening around the pelvic floor. Can you feel those sit bones just gently opening, that triangle between your sit bones and your pubic bone? That kind of opening there, pressing down towards the floor. And if you'd like, top arm reaches up and over. Shoulders gently gliding down your back. Coming back to your breath once more. Maybe the counting helps to find that anchor. Really soften around the jaw. And just staying for a couple more breaths here. Feeling the body slowing down. Slowly start to turn. You can walk those hands forward. Taking a moment here, again, just opening through the back of the hips, feeling that length through your spine. And then slowly from here, start to walk yourself back up. Take a moment to shake out your legs as you need. Oof. So we're moving into our final pose before Shavasana. What we will use for this one is 2 blocks and your bolster. It's a reclining heart opener. You'll place the blocks behind you, one on its side, the other upright. You, of course, can use blankets to pile up, other pillows, books, anything like that you may have. But these are just the standard yoga props. And then we'll be placing that bolster on an angle there over those blocks. From there, you come to lie down on your back, just slowly rolling yourself down. You might even keep your blanket nearby so that you may put it over your legs if you're feeling chilly or anything like that. Options for the legs would be to have the butterfly, open them out here. To have knees bent, they can rest together. Or you can straighten your legs out. So whatever works for you. Allowing the arms to open out to the sides, the chest to open, and your body to really just start to melt into this pose. The heart melting, heart opening space. Now, if this one doesn't work for you, it's too far down, or maybe just the wrong angle, you can go farther down by removing the blocks and just having the bolster. Or you might prop them higher up. You may prop the bolster up against a couch or a chair. You may even just be sitting on a chair, leaning back slightly with your arms open wide to the sides. So once again, relaxing around the jaw, around the face. Each inhale and each exhale, just allowing maybe one little bit more of tension or tightness. Anything that's making you anxious, just letting it melt away as if it's melting off of you down into the floor. Finding a kindness and a softness behind the eyes, around the mouth. Be bringing your awareness back down to your belly. Back to baby. Breathing in, you might say to yourself, let. Breathing out, you might say, go. Let. Now from here, we'll be moving into Shavasana, our final relaxation. If you're happy here, you're welcome to stay here for your Shavasana. If you'd like an option today, we will roll over onto our sides. It can be a nice place to hug the bolster. Maybe having the blanket over us or a block or something between our knees for some support for the hips. Maybe a pillow, some blocks underneath the head for a little bit of support as well. You can ask yourself, if I could make myself 1% more comfortable, what would I do? See if you can indulge there. I encourage you to find whatever position makes you most comfortable, as it's different for everyone. Let go. And starting a body scan from the tips of your toes, up your feet and your ankles. Letting your feet and your ankles relax. Moving up your calves, your shins, your knees. Letting your calves and your knees relax. Through your calves to your thighs, from your thighs to your pelvis. Letting your thighs and your pelvis relax. Noticing your low back and the skin of your belly, Allowing your low back and your belly to relax. Moving through your upper back, your heart, your rib cage. Allowing your heart and your back to release, to relax. And your arms and your hands. Releasing. To your shoulders and your neck. Your arms, your shoulders, and your neck are fully relaxed. The base of your skull, your scalp, and your forehead. Feeling your skull relaxing. And behind the eyes, in your cheeks. Feel your eyes and your cheeks relaxed. Finally, your mouth. Feel your tongue, your jaw, and your throat fully relaxed. Your whole body is soft. Your whole body is relaxed. Baby is relaxed. Now slowly just start to notice the sounds in the room. Notice the feeling of your breath. Maybe notice baby. And then bringing your awareness into your feet. You start to move your toes and your ankles. Bringing your awareness back into your hands. Moving your fingers, maybe rubbing your thumb along your fingertips. Maybe starting to move your head a little bit side to side. If you'd like from here, just stretching out, taking a nice big inhale. You might roll onto your back if that feels comfortable. Or maybe reaching out if you're still on the bolster. And then from your side, maybe rolling over there to roll off the bolster. Just slowly start to help yourself back up to a seated position. Finishing once more in a comfortable seated spot. Maybe resting one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. You may have your hands together at heart center, or maybe both hands on your belly. Feeling relaxed around the shoulders and the face. And just noticing how you feel now at the end of your practice. Maybe sending out a silent thank you to yourself for making it here to the mat for yourself today. And a thank you to baby for sharing with you in your practice today. The power in me bows to the power in you. Namaste.